Well, while progress has been made to become better allies with queer communities, there is still much more to be done to be better at authentic inclusion.
So joining us live now for a look at this is Dr. Samra Zafar, human rights advocate, and she joins us live in the studio this morning. Thank you so much for joining us once again. You're on our show for your book. We really appreciate it. So this is Pride Month, and with all that's happening in the world today, the world cannot be more divided. So I want to raise this issue of, identity, trauma, and healing, and how we can be better allies, not just for the queer community, but when it comes to everyone else we live with in this diverse community.
Thank you for raising such an important point. And, the world is becoming more and more isolated, more and more divided. We're living in silos. We're isolating and disconnecting with each other instead of leaning in and having conversations where we can, disagree on some things, but still be able to build bridges instead of walls. And I think this month is so important because on one hand, it's a month of celebrations. However, I see this with my patients. I see this with the communities, readers, and audiences that I work with, that a lot of people, are also experiencing difficult feelings, right? Because not everybody can celebrate their identity, which is the heartbreak of the world we live in. Not everybody can feel free to do so, and for some people it's dangerous. It actually brings up feelings of past trauma or experiences of isolation, rejection, humiliation. So, and then they feel, well, everybody else is celebrating, but I'm not. So when you layer in your sexual or gender identity with your cultural identity, with past traumas, with your racial identity, and all these different intersectionalities, it can become much more complex than it looks. And it's really important as allies and people in the community to see people in their wholeness instead of just a single story, because single stories are polarizing. Yeah,
the level of layers there is really significant, right? The intersectionalities as you describe them, Doctor. I wonder, when you talk about allyship, it is an important word, not only for the entire community that you're referring to, but for people who want to be allies, but maybe can't understand how to start it or approach it or sort of get into it. What is your advice to someone who wants to be there and their heart's in the right place, but they're not sure how to begin?
And we're all there, right? I am a mother to 2 queer daughters. But I grew up in a very homophobic culture and family.
Right, yeah.
And so for me, it's been a journey, and that's what allyship is. It's a journey of educating ourselves, of learning, of making mistakes, forgiving yourself, doing better when you know better. So the first thing you can do as allies is to educate yourself. Don't put the onus of learning onto the people who are oppressed, because that's another burden that they don't need. So we need to educate ourselves, and allyship is not about standing on our soapbox and speaking on behalf of people. It's about learning from them. It's about being in solidarity with them and supporting them, offering that support and compassion, and then taking action as needed.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about mental health because it's such a big topic. But when we look at the LGBTQ2S+ community and communities where people are kind of discriminated against based on their gender, and then you layer all those complex other issues such as, family, past traumas, ethnicity, how does one find healing and resilience with all that on their shoulders?
It is a journey. The LGBTQ+ community, people in that community are disproportionately affected by mental health. Even, they're 7 times more likely to be experiencing substance abuse. They are 25% more likely to have suicidal ideation. So mental health is very, very big in that community, and we have to make sure that we are addressing mental health solutions that are applicable to people for who they are. It has to be individually tailored instead of having one-size-fits-all solutions that leave a lot of people feeling unheard and unseen. And it's important to ask people, what works best for you? How would you like to be supported? Because everybody's situation is different, especially when we layer in all those intersectionalities. I mean, I have kids coming into the hospitals who are like, I don't know how to even talk about it at home because my parents won't understand.
Yeah. It's a real challenge indeed. Listen, Dr. Zafar, I really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for being in here and highlighting these issues for us today. Happy Pride Month.
Happy
Thanks for being
Pride
here.
Month.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Appreciate it.